Welcome everyone, thanks for joining us. We're just going to hang on a couple of minutes, I think, so I'll rub it on for a couple of minutes just to welcome you, because we think maybe some people have missed the link at the moment, so I can see Nick popping in there as well. So I'm Damon Scott, I'm the Chief Executive of Dunbartonshire Chamber of Commerce, and this is part of our Together for Business activity aimed to support businesses through the current crisis that we're facing and add value and bring sort of knowledge transfer. This session is obviously our Power Lunch and Learn, so it's a really sort of short, sharp introduction to some key areas of knowledge, and we're delighted today that we have Angela Pounder, who's going to give us an insight into the paid for social media side of things, which is something I think people quite often don't quite get these days, but can be a very effective tool when used properly. So yeah, welcome everyone. I think we've got enough here at the moment to kick things off. So if I can pass over to yourself, Angela, just unmute.
Thanks, Damon. Yeah. Hi everyone. So I'm just going to start with a wee screen share, just take you through presentation, if you bear with me. That is when the technicality piece never works. Okay. And I'll just move this down. Great. So yes, as Damon said, so paid social, lots of people think they understand it, but maybe they don't really use what we would call paid social, or don't know why they should be using it. So today over lunch we're just going to take a quick run through of why do you need to use ads on your business, what are the differences between paid ads and doing a boost, the things that you need to do before you spend any money on ads, what makes an ad work, and how much should you spend on ads.
Sorry, can I just jump in, Angela?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, it's all right. I think it might have fixed itself. I could see your browser there, but it seems to have disappeared. Thanks for that.
Okay. So yeah, just to say a bit about me. So I run a business called Clydeside Social. I'm based in Dumbarton, and I'm a freelance social media manager and Facebook and Instagram ads manager. So why should you be using ads in your business? Well, here's some of the numbers. So 2.45 billion monthly active users across the world on Facebook. And then within that, 71% of UK adults can be reached with Facebook ads. So I'm sure you've been there scrolling through your own feed when something's popped up. Maybe you've had a conversation with someone in the house about a product, and the next thing you know, you've been served an ad. And 94% of the Facebook ads revenue comes from mobile, which we'll talk a little bit about as we go forward. So what is the difference between a boost and an ad? The main differences are a lot of people think that they're running an ad because they've pressed that blue boost button, but they're two different things. If you run paid Facebook ads, you get better targeting and retargeting. So retargeting is when you can select if maybe someone's already visited your site or already clicked on an ad before, you can use Facebook ads to then retarget that person. So an example would be where you've gone to a website, you've selected an item, and then you thought, oh no, I can't be bothered, or something's distracted you and you've forgotten about it. And then maybe the next day you get an ad saying 5% off because you've left something in your cart or whatever. So that would be retargeting. Ads Manager gives you better data. So it gives you a better opportunity to optimize your ads and to scale them up if you decide that you want to get more from them. You've got more choice of your campaign objectives and Facebook ads. So your objective is what you want to achieve from that ad, what action you want your audience to take. And boosts do work well, but boosts tends to only work well on posts which already have performed well organically. So something which has lots of likes, lots of comments, lots of shares, then a boost can help that. But the post needs to be relevant to the business at that moment in time and have the social proof before your boost is really going to work. So you might have seen as well over the summer, I saw businesses who were maybe had done a post about something that they were doing just for that weekend, and that was great and it worked really well and they got loads of engagement. But when they boosted it and it was still sitting there maybe 3, 4, 5 days later, you kind of thought, well, that's not really relevant. It's talking about being in the beer garden in the great sunshine, and you looked out the window and actually it was pouring rain. So it can work, but it can also be kind of problematic in terms of relevance. Before you spend any money, these are the 3 things that you need to go and do. So we talked about why that 94% of revenue comes from mobile on Facebook ads. So a mobile optimized website is really, really key. Most of us are scrolling through phones or iPads now. Most of us, it's the smartphone. I think pre-pandemic, a lot of that would have been on commutes. You know, you saw everyone on the train just looking down or in the city centre. But even now, people are on their phone because they're at home more than they've been. And you need your website to be mobilized for optimized for the mobile. So what does that mean? So it means the speed of loading. You want rid of any annoying pop-ups. The word of 2020 and social media or Facebook ads is frictionless. So is your customer's journey frictionless? Because if they go on your site and it doesn't load or they keep getting pop-ups all the time, they're just going to leave. Like, people on social media are time precious. They don't want to spend lots of time looking for something, so they're just going to head off. So that's one to check. And then the Facebook pixel, this is an absolute must. So it's a piece of code that tracks your website visitor behavior, and pretty much you can't run ads without it. So if you don't have a Facebook pixel on your website, then you need to go and put one on as soon as you're finished this call. And then the last thing, there's systems to follow up and retarget. So Facebook ads on their own, unfortunately, aren't a silver bullet. Wouldn't it be great if we had that one thing that would do business for all of us? But email marketing, nurture sequences, CRM systems, you need something else in place, because you need to be able to follow up with the people who don't take the action you want them to take. You need to make sure that the messages are followed up, because you don't want to let that lead go. So if someone's taken the time to click on an ad and read something, you don't want that lead to disappear. You want to be able to keep them within your community and warm them up and eventually turn them into someone who'll convert for you. So they are the 3 things that you have to do before you spend any money at all. The Facebook pixel. It's a tricky wee thing sometimes. So what is it? Well, as I said, it's a piece of code. Why do you need it? Because it will track your campaign. It will capture the data from website visitors. It will retarget your warmest leads. It will find more of your ideal clients. So it is just a piece of code, as they say, but it can be quite easy to put in. So if you've got a website developer, they should be able to do it for you. A good tech VA should be able to do it for you. It can be done by yourself on your own website as well, but it needs to be there. It is an amazing piece of code that will get you information that you just didn't know about your audience and help your Facebook ads immensely. So what makes a Facebook ad work? We're going to go through these 4 in a bit more detail, but your targeting, your scroll stopping image, your inspiring headline and copy, and the all important budget. So what's your targeting? Well, here's 3 different types of audiences, and lots of people have heard of one of them, but perhaps not all of them. So within Facebook ads, you've got cold audiences and warm audiences. Your cold audiences are people who don't know you and they don't know your business. They've not interacted with you before. And your warm audiences are people who obviously have. So in terms of cold, you can have an interest-based audience. That means that you go in and set the targeting. So you decide that you're looking for men aged 25 to 55 who are interested in golf, for example, say you're a golfing e-com store, you can then pick all their other interests. So what else, you're building up a persona of that person, what else are they interested in, where do they shop, where do they live, all that kind of stuff. So interest-based audiences, you set all of that. A lookalike audience is where Facebook uses the data points to find people for you. So that's where the pixel and things can come into play. So you can set up a lookalike audience of your current Facebook following or your current website visitors. So you can set up lookalikes of website visitors in the last 90 days, and Facebook will go and find the people who are like those people. And then your warm audience, so you can retarget people who've already engaged with your business. It says underneath there, custom audiences are needed to create your lookalike. So what you do is you go in and you set up the audience. So I'll create an audience of all my website visitors, 30, 60, 90, 120 days. I'll do the same with Facebook. I'll do the same with Instagram. If you've got a database, so if you've got a CSV, then you can upload that and you use that as well. And that can also be used to create a lookalike. And all those audiences that you've just created through your Facebook, your Instagram, your database, they're your warm audience. And then the lookalikes of them are your cold audience. So it gives you great targeting. Now, what does the ad makeup look like? So clearly in front of you, you will look at this first, and then you'll read the bit underneath. You might look at the small print underneath there, and you won't look to the top until the end. And let's see what that looks like on some ads. So it's just a random selection. I've got another couple, but you can see that the image is the thing that's going to stop you first. So it might be that in that first one on the left, it's about, you've got a kind of, the image is maybe a bit more of a disruptor, because when that comes through on your feed, you're kind of thinking, all right, what's this? It's obviously got a great offer at the bottom there, buy 10, get 10 free. The offer's also in the photo, which really helps. The middle one is a video. I think the turquoise colour helps it stand out, as well as the fact it's just a giant poo emoji. And it's going to make you want to stop and look at what's that all about. And then the Ben and Jerry's one, that just appeals to me because I'm a foodie. But licking the screen isn't advised, but you do you. So that image, I think even the purple is really strong. It's going to stop what you're doing. It makes you want to stop that scroll and look. So people scroll social media over 300 feet a day, and you really want them to stop and look at your ad. So the things that you want to look out for are pattern disruptors. It could be a video, needs to be a scroll stopping image, a great offer, so it could be something free, something discounted, your colour, that's going to help. Things like yellow, we never used to see yellow at all coming through. You get a bit more now, but that's one that a lot of people don't use. And then obviously your copy as well. So here's another couple. The one on the left is a lady called Amy Porterfield, who's quite big in the coaching industry, and she sells 1 million courses, but her ads are great. She does loads of video ads. So she's always a good one. You can see she's wearing yellow, which pops out a little bit. Now the middle one I was just served last night. And personally, I think this is an example of a bad ad. The image might make you stop and think, what is that? But it didn't mean anything to me. So if you look at where the text is in the top part of the ad, the way she's spaced it, it doesn't tell you anything. So you'll only ever see like a couple of lines. And it's not great, really. It doesn't tell me anything. I read the whole ad last night and I still don't know what the ad's for. So be really clear with your customer what their ad is, what your ad is for, and how it's going to help them. And then the last one is just an example of a boost. And I have blanked out the company for a reason, but this person's boosted this post. And I don't think you're going to stop for that on your scroll. So they didn't use an image. They didn't think about how they were really going to capture that customer. And it probably could have been amazing, because I'll bet they've got some great images of what they've done in the past. But I would hazard a guess that they've done a post. It's got quite all right engagements, had 12 comments. That's not too bad. but probably Facebook have said, here's the blue button, sponsor this, and you'll get a few more eyes on your post, and that's what they've done. Whereas if they'd just taken that into Ads Manager and done a little bit of tweaking, they could have probably got some better results. And then continuing the theme of the visuals is about placement. So you have to edit your size for your placement. It's really, really important. And Facebook Ads Manager allows you to do this. So the size of the image or the text within the Facebook or the Instagram newsfeed and then within stories is very different. Those of you who use Instagram for personal use will know that you'll probably take a photo in a square rather than using your kind of full profile. And then when you're doing a story, you actually want to take the full profile. So stories are super important. Ads are served on stories all the time. And if you just literally use the same square image, it's really not going to look good. You want it to be authentic to that platform. So it's super important to create your image for the placement and the platform that it's going into. So you've got your image, it's scroll stop and it's the right size, and you need to write your headline. The headline is the bit, it sounds daft because you think headlines at the top, but it sits just underneath the image in the little grey box, and it's there to attract attention. So it's the one thing that your audience needs to know. And there are just some ideas about what it might be. So it might be a discount, might be an offer, could be a time limit, 7 days only, or doors close in 3 days, or whatever it might be. It might be a claim. So it could be, Dumbarton's biggest indoor soft play, or whatever your business might be. It could be an award. Just think about whether or not the award means more to you than it does to your customer, because remember, you're writing this for your customer and not just for your own business ego. Any PR, so great for products, anyone with any kind of home products or business products as seen on This Morning or as featured in Elle Decoration or whatever it might be, but also for trade. So if you've got a trade publication that your audience reads and your business or your product's been featured in that, then that's a good one as well. What are the benefits of the product? A good promise, perhaps there's a short customer review, and it needs to be targeted and fit the space. There's only about 30 characters in there, which really isn't a lot, and ideally you don't want it to drop over 2 lines. You can use emojis in there as well. Make sure you use the audience language. So again, you're talking to your audience, you're not talking to yourself or your colleagues. So if you think about industries where there's a lot of jargon, like try and cut through the jargon and just make it really simple for who your audience are. Other things to do are to check out your competitors or yourself, or so on reviews. So what about if somebody's written a book, if there was Amazon reviews, or if you've got Facebook reviews on your business or your product, or Trustpilot reviews on your product or your service, you can use them. So go and read them, read the reviews, see what words your customers are using, see what language your customers are using, what tone of voice, because that can really help you to target more of those same people. And then a really strong call to action. So call to action is the little button where you'll see it say learn more, buy now, get quote. So that needs to be what you want that customer to do. And sometimes the headline just needs to say click download for your freebie, or click download to get the offer, and tell people, be really clear. Budget, budget, budget. It's the one thing everyone asks. And there's no one size fits all, but I'll be brutally honest and say that you're not going to get results on £1 a day. So Facebook will tell you can boost posts for £1 a day, but you're not really going to get a lot back for that. It kind of works like a marketplace. So everyone's in there vying for the same space. It doesn't matter if you are a hairdresser or a car mechanic, you're both fighting for the same space. So I think it's important to know that it also can get busier at different times of the year. So it's a bit like supply and demand. I've seen Facebook ads go, when I say go up in cost, so I've spent the same amount of money for the same client last month as I did in May, but the results we got this month were less because the cost's going up. So the cost per result is higher when we're spending the same amount of money as we did back at the beginning of lockdown. Why is that? Because there's more people advertising, because more people have gone onto social, more people have gone online in this current climate. But we're also now in Q4. And like everything in Q4, it gets busier. So as we progress towards Christmas, more people are advertising, more of the big brands are putting more money behind product. So it means that there's a greater demand for the space. I would say a minimum to my clients of £10 a day. But then I do prefer for them to go to kind of 15 to 20 or above. You need more than that if you want to create some kind of funnel. So if you want to bring in a cold audience and then maybe warm them up with some other ads in the middle and then send them another ad towards the end at the bottom of the funnel to get them to convert, then you will need more budget for that. Also, you should be looking to run them for a period of maybe 1 to 3 months. So a lot of people think they can run an ad for just a few days, but it actually takes the algorithm 3 to 5 days just to begin working, just to go out and find the people, just to find the right customer for you. So if you've only run an ad for say 5 days, Facebook's just getting to that point where it's finding your perfect person and you're switching it off. You can run them for periods of time. So I've got a client who does a kind of 4-day challenge. So we run challenge ads for 10 days, but she's already been running longer ads to build her audience and grow her email list. So that kind of works away in the background, and then she does this little kind of target for 10 days. But in the first instance, I would say you probably need to run it for longer. If you were starting from scratch, there are campaigns that you can do on less just to build your following, just to build some engagement before you maybe start looking into conversion ads or lead ads. But in the main, I would say your minimum would be £10 a day. And the reason you also need budget is to test. Facebook ads is all about testing. So I always test the different elements. So you can test an audience, you could test a creative, you can test your copy, and you can see what's working and then do more of that. So we can switch off one ad and do more of another one because that's working. Maybe the tone of voice is better, maybe that one image works better than another, and sometimes it's the thing you never thought would work that does. And so you need the budget to test those elements one at a time. And that's kind of it in a nutshell. You need a great image, you need some copy that's going to speak to your customer, get the budget behind it and test. If you are just boosting posts, that's okay, if that's where you're at right now. But what I would say is make sure you're doing that in Facebook Ads Manager. You can boost your posts through that and you'll then see all the data that's available to you. So you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. If you are on Instagram in particular or on Facebook and you've enjoyed today's session, please share a story, tag me in it. I'd love to find you guys over there. Connect with me on LinkedIn, just at Angela Pounder. And ads can be overwhelming. And a power hour can be a great place to start to just understand a bit more after today. So if any of you want to do that, then I've got an offer there to quote your DCC Power Lunch. And for the end of November, I'll give you 15% off my usual cost of a power hour. I have got a website, clydesidesocial.co.uk, and all my services and details of prices are on there. This is the bit where you open up to, does anybody have any questions?
So, no, thanks for that, Angela. And if you want to put your contact details in the chat, then that would be a good way for people to pick them up.
Put your mic down, Damon.
Yes, rookie mistake there. So yes, someone was eating their lunch while listening to Angela there. So thank you very much. But yes, that was really interesting, and I think some of the things there that I would say sort of really good tips, but the Facebook pixel absolutely is a must-have, and I love this idea of the and I'm not a mad expert or anything, but the idea of the lookalike audience when you're trying to develop your market that picks up people. I mean, what a marketer's absolute dream to be able to access an audience that shares the interests and behavior of the one that you have existing. So, you know, I think those two are really, really powerful. I'll kick things off, see if anyone's got any other questions. But first of all, so you're saying £10 a day, and you're talking about sort of maybe having to find a few months. Small businesses, you know, need
Yeah.
to think about, you know, running a £10 a day for several months is a fairly major, you know, undertaking. But so what sort of level of campaign might you do for businesses? You know, I'm assuming it's not daily for 3 months, for instance.
So, I mean, it does all, you're right that it's a big investment for, you know, an independent business owner. I suppose what I would say is look at your full marketing package. So don't look at Facebook ads as something else. Look at what you spend on marketing, work out what you think you're getting from that. So I'll take leaflets as an example because I think it's a great kind of product to talk about. Lots of us wouldn't necessarily think twice about, I'm just going to leaflet everybody for my business. I'm based in Dumbarton, I'll go and get somebody to do all the doors or whatever. Or publications that, you know, come through the door as well. Now, leaflets, for example, can cost a good couple of £100 by the time you've done the design work and then you need to get them out. You might have one street and that leaflet goes to all those houses, but you don't actually know if anyone in those houses is your ideal client, or maybe they are. So just say your ideal client was me. So, and 40-ish-year-old woman who owns her own home with family, blah, blah, blah. So I'm your ideal client, brilliant. You've popped it through my door, but you've also put it through the door of my next door neighbour who is a retired man in his 70s and lives on his own. And you've straight away wasted your money. So I think with Facebook ads, you're right, it's the targeting aspect. For me, it means that whatever money you do spend, it's only going to the people that you want to target. And, you know, £10 a day for me is the basic aspiration. If you have half of that, then you can still do something, you can still get results. You just won't get as much as the guy spending £15 a day, but you can still get results. If your budget was something like £5 a day, then I would probably say if you're able to just do something really targeted for a month, or so I'll give you an example. There was a customer who said they only had £300. That was it. So they wanted to spend that £300 over 3 months and spend £100 a month, which would be like £3 a day. Whereas what they would be better doing is taking that £300 and going all in on 1 month and really going big on their campaign and getting the results, and then retarget those customers in another way. So follow up with the emails, follow up with a messenger, or even a phone call, you know, if that's the details that you can get. So for me, it's looking at that whole budget and how you spend it, and not looking at Facebook ads as an additional cost in your business. Does that make sense?
No, that's really another really sort of valuable point there, and I think it's really important to just sort of get someone to give you a little bit of a steer on these things, just to be realistic, because like you said, you know, we've all probably been there and done the, I'll just spend 15 quid on this to boost, you know, and you're, you know, we'll try and add, you know, rather than the boost, even if you are only going to spend 15 quid sort of thing. And at least when you've got the pixel in place, you can get something out of it if people come through. So has anyone got some follow-up questions there? Philip, can I bring you in?
I've got loads, Angela.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's spend all day doing this. But no, the one I'm interested in, I don't know too much about the Facebook pixel thing, and you did mention this to me before, and I haven't got around to looking at it, but that's a bit of code that goes on to, so the chamber website, for example, or our company website.
Yeah, so I think the chamber website's got it already, because I'm sure I checked. But the easiest way to check if your website or someone else has got it is you can get a Chrome extension. So if you just Google Facebook Pixel Helper on your Chrome extension, and then that will show you whether or not the pixel's on somebody's website and if it's registered in page views, etc. If you are in Facebook Business Manager, then that's where you get your pixel. I am the least technical person, and I was able to find the pixel and send it to my web developer. So it can be done. It's not that difficult.
I'm slightly more technical, and I know, but I can't. It usually needs. I don't know why they don't build this in as a thing to all the content management systems actually, but it does usually need your developer but it's literally a cut and paste. You know, he just opens the HTML code and he pastes this into the appropriate pages. And that's it done. So it's not, you know, don't think that's going to be a barrier to, you know, it's not a big web redesign or anything.
And if you were to go, sorry, Anne, if you were to go to a web developer, it shouldn't cost you a fortune, so don't worry about that either.
If you've got a WordPress site, then there's a plugin, a WordPress plugin, a free plugin that you can use to attach it in, and it's literally just a case of copying and pasting the pixel number, the pixel unique number from your Facebook page into the plugin on the website, and it should start working straight away. It's really easy.
Doesn't surprise me.
Tag manager to do it, which again, it's just a case of copying a bit of code and pasting it in as well. So
yeah, absolutely. So it's dead easy, and you know, even if you do, you know, if you haven't got WordPress, even if you do need your developer to do it, it will be a case of cut and paste.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a copy and paste. So it should take 2 minutes.
No, exactly. So, all right. So that's good. So, any more questions? I think these are really interesting because they kind of help you think about things that maybe you haven't thought about as well when someone else asks this question. Philip, have you got?
I could probably think of loads, but I was just writing stuff down about the pixel thing, so I want to check it. I know you've checked the chamber page, chamber website, but I'm going to check the company page and things just to see if we've got it. But
I've got a funny feeling you haven't. I'm sure the last conversation we had,
yeah, I'll get the website people to put it on if we haven't. But yeah, I found that interesting because I've always thought boosts were quite a good thing to do, but after listening to you a couple of weeks ago and today, it's, you know, it's not really the ideal thing to do. But just particularly with the chamber, no offence, I mean, the budgets are tight, so you know, to do a £300 or £400 ad would be a big thing for us to do and get return on it. But and I guess it would be for a lot of small businesses, but it could potentially be worth it. You just got to make sure your ad's bang on before you hit your pay, basically.
Yeah, and there's things you can do like running. You'll see people run what's called like a page like ad. So if you're just trying to get people to like your business page or follow your Instagram business page, and you can do that on just a couple of pounds a day. And sometimes it's worth doing that even for a month. So you're not targeting an event, you're not targeting a conversion or getting them to go and do anything other than just like your page, but you can do that for a couple of pounds a day, and it starts to find more people for you, which builds your audience, and it also starts Facebook ads to think, oh, she's spending a bit of money with us, because unfortunately they're a business like everybody else, and they like the people who spend more money than the people who don't.
Do you ever come across people that, because I remember doing one, I can't remember if it was a chamber or for European circuits, but I got a message back from someone saying, stop spamming me.
Yeah, I think we talked about that. No, personally, I've not had it. What people can do is go in and hide an ad. So when you see the 3 wee dots in the top right hand corner, you can just hide it if you don't want to see it anymore. But they'll have been served that ad for a reason. That's the kind of strange thing. So yes, they could be a cold audience person from a lookalike or interest base, but Facebook thinks they want to see that ad for some reason. I mean, ideally, you don't want people reporting ads and things like that, because it can, in the long run, with loads of it, disable your account and stuff. But you'd need a lot. It would need to be pretty bad for somebody to complain that your ad account would be banned. But yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it. But I'm not sure whether I would connect with the person or not. It's a bit like when it doesn't matter what you do on social, there's always going to be somebody that doesn't like it, isn't there?
I think I deleted the comment, but he just commented, you know, please stop spamming me or something. I thought, oh, that's a bit of a strange one.
Aye. So no, it was really useful questions there as well. So no, I think I had one more before you go, because I had a poke around for the we chatted about this actually, Philip, about importing a CSV file, because I think that's if you've got a decent database, being able to transfer over your customer profile or email or whatever it is to do that. Can that be done in all platforms? Like, because it's a business page we've got for the chamber. So where would you do that off the top of your head?
In Business Manager, you would do it when you create an audience. So if you go into your Facebook Business Manager and go into audience and create audience, it is a custom audience that you want to create. And then when you click custom audience, it will bring up a box that says, where do you want to import it from? So is it Facebook, is it your website? And I'm sure there's one that says customer list. And then you can just upload the CSV.
You browse to the CSV file.
Browse to CSV, you just upload the file. You need a minimum of, I'm sure it's 100, which is nothing really. So
oh, I thought it was 1,000.
I want to say it's 100.
Maybe it used to be 1,000.
It might be. I've definitely got clients with way less than 1,000.
Okay, that would be good actually.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's a really interesting one. And thanks for the insights I think it's important for people to sort of look at, I mean, sort of nice comment from Shona there about sort of, seeing how to improve, the way that you approach things as well. Using ads rather than boosts is more effective, and even just the design as well. Looking at some of those designs, you could see just a big headline with an image. Less is more, I think, is probably my thing that I picked up from it. Don't try and because I think there's there's a lot of people that try and think I must get all this information across, and I think they miss out on getting people to even click or notice it, because people are looking for, I'm not being funny, but if you had an eye-catching image, up, whatever it is, that attracts interest. If it's not relevant, sometimes you go, well, forget it, you've cheated me, sort of thing. But if it has a relevance, then I think that's a really good sort of tip there. So headlines and eye-catching imagery sort of thing, because what it's like with a feed you've got. How many feet did you say you
300 feet a day.
Right, so if you've got 300,
must be about 600 feet.
So if you've got 300, you need to have something that is not just looks like everything else for people to stop and click, basically. So no, that's really valuable stuff there, Angela. So thank you so much. So before I wrap up, because it is lunch and learn, and I did scoff mine while we were taking that, while I was listening intently. But thank you all for joining us. Any more before we wrap things up? Well, thank you for joining us. Oh, there's one more, Lindsay. Sorry, can't hear. Lindsay doesn't look like she's on mute, but we can't hear her. Sorry, Lindsay, could you put it in the chat bar quickly? So she's definitely not on mute. So it's not the.
She's not done your trick with putting the microphone up here.
No, that's just so I can bring you in. It's just an excuse, Philip. So, all right, it's just to say a nice thank you. Thank you very much. That's really appreciated, and it is very much what we're all about. And please do connect with us more as we go forward. We've got a great networking with purpose session happens on Tuesdays, not next week because it's the October week, but Tuesdays at 9:30. Really good sort of bunch of people in atmosphere, and get lots out of that. And we'll be having other lunch and learn sessions going forward. If you're interested in investments, we've got one coming up for single cask whiskey. That's probably not a massive crossover here, but some people, you never know. And just keep an eye out for our activities going forward, and please do join us again. Thank you very much for coming. Thanks, guys. Us.